had a lot of low self-worth, and it came from a lot of trauma, from my childhood. And, growing up, even though I looked good on the outside, on the inside, I wasn't good. I didn't have that self-worth. And so it reflected in a lot of the choices and decisions that I made in my life, especially in relationships. You really showed itself there. And so it was just really causing me to not make the best choices for myself because I didn't feel good about myself. And over the years, a lot of people, friends, because although I definitely have the gifts and everything that God gave me, I was always that person. I just didn't know it.
Right.
The encourager, the motivator, and all of that. And I could do that for other people, but couldn't do it for myself. And so I withheld a lot of my gifts and a lot of the essence of who I am because I didn't feel that way about myself. And I can truly say that. And I got this from a video I was listening to today with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it says that when you begin to feel whole and grateful, your healing begins at that moment. So it wasn't until I began to feel whole and I had to do the work. I had to fight against that thing. I had to keep telling it to shut the hell up. No, that's not who I am. I had to keep affirming who I am and definitely be in the company of my sisters, my goddesses who see me and know the essence of me. And, you affirm that, you guys uplift me. And a lot of my other sisters, that I consider my tribe that helped me in my journey to wholeness because it was a journey. It didn't happen overnight.
Right.
But I have to encourage everyone that you have to take that step towards that journey of wholeness because we know a lot of times where we're lacking.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I just want to encourage everyone to start on that journey. And I look forward over these next few weeks, really sharing my story and, from a place of healing, not as a victim, but as a victor, and to help someone else to come into their wholeness because you are worthy. We all are worthy. And so anything that I can share to help, that's what I want to do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bella. So those of you who are joining us on social media, welcome. Whether this is your first or your 50th time, know that you can join us in the Love Healing Room. If you want to share with your voice, you can dial 248-289-5882. You can remain anonymous and you can share your story. This is a safe, judgment-free platform, and we want to make sure that you have the support that we all need. We all need to have a supportive ear to share what's going on with us. So if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe, but also remember you can call in and share with your voice. So Love Healing Room, the line is open. If you have something you'd like to share, we want to hear your story so that you can actively speak healing into your story. The line is open. All right, well, at any point, if you change your mind, you want to double dutch in, just come on off mute and share your story. So before the show started, we were pretty much having a conversation about things that we experienced growing up that we know that caused the impression. There was an imprint that happened, like I mentioned, about my self-image, how that really affected my self-worth. And I was called Slim Goody. What was another nickname that kind of spoke to my small, I mean, I was just teeny tiny. I was super, super tiny, always the smallest person in the group, always the shortest, always the most petite. So that was emphasized so much when I was growing up. And then at one point, I think I was 12, my nose started to grow. Oh my gosh, it hurt so bad that my mom took me to the doctor. It hurt so bad. And I was so self-conscious because it really took over my face. And I was embarrassed and I was made to feel bad because my look was changing. I wasn't this little pixie anymore. I didn't have a little pixie nose. I had a really big nose for my face.
Never paid any attention to that whatsoever. But a lot of things as we're growing up as kids can be really cruel.
Not just kids, some adults can be.
Too. But
Some adults.
and they don't even think, to say, anything about that particular thing, because I can't imagine you with I'm just seeing you as you are with a tiny nose.
Oh, thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
But it's things like that. For me growing up, I was always heavy, for my age. So I was kind of conscious of my hips because I was a nice size. I was still good looking, but I was self-conscious because of the people that were around me were a little bit smaller, than I was. And then when I got into my teenage years, I wanted to be a stewardess. And they told me that I had to be at least 115 pounds, and I was 130 pounds. And then my height was only like 5'3", with it, 3.5. I'm giving myself a half, with it. And that, because I could never get down to it. So eventually I just figured, it really wasn't meant for me at that time to go to be a stewardess. And then I tried to go into the Army, with it, because I was trying to find something to do with my life instead after high school. And then when I went in to check out, I took the test and everything. They lost my records.
Oh, wow.
And do you really think that I was going to go back and take it again? Because even back then, I still had to know it wasn't meant for me to be, because if you lost them, it wasn't. But we find our self-worth gradually, because we're going to see things differently in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60. And I still believe that there's a process that we have to go to. But I feel good at this point right now in my life. I feel good about me. So for me to continue in that self-worth, I wake up with refreshed, revived, renewed, rejuvenated. Those are my 5 R's, that I say when I get out of bed, because I want to speak that to my future.
That's good.
And I can tell you right now, me saying that over the years, I feel that every day that I wake up, and then I check myself when I'm not. When we came, and right before the show was starting, I was telling Bella, I refuse to go back to a caterpillar.
Right.
I am a freaking butterfly, a bomb diggity one at that. So I think for me, when I meet people and I talk to them, I want to be able to transmute their life where they don't want to go back to whoever they were.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. I want to affect someone to that point that you see yourself as unique, because there is no one. I know, and it's a cliche, people say it all the doggone time, but it's true. There is not another one of you.
That's right.
And if you wake up every day on this side, then there's something for you to do. And you just have to figure that particular part out. Darla was saying earlier about Joe Dispenza, a phenomenal man. Just listen. Once you listen to him, you're going to subscribe, to him. So he's a great teacher that you can learn from.
Yes,
just gorgeous.
Another thing he said on that video was about telling the story of your future. A lot of times we continue to tell that story And I was sharing yesterday that now that I share this story, and I was sharing it earlier with you guys too, that when I share my story now, it's from a place of wholeness. You know, I'm sharing it to help somebody, you know, to expose that thing so that it can be dealt with.
Right.
You know, so that you can transmute, you can transform your life because it's happening right before my eyes. And I'm like,
It is. It
So,
is.
Love Healing Room, we have gotten the conversation more than started. And I know that you want to share your story. So, come off of mute whenever you're ready. The line is open. We'd love to hear from you.
tell us something. Here.
Something good.
All right. Okay. And so let's say our phone number again for those of you who are on social media, watching us on YouTube, on Facebook. Go ahead, Love Healing Room. We hear you coming off mute.
I don't know if it's for me to be off mute, but I wanted to share something. I appreciate you guys sharing. It's really inspirational. And I wanted to share also, I didn't want to share my name or anything. I don't know if that's required.
Not at all.
Not.
Pardon me?
No, you can stay anonymous. You do not have to say your name or where you're calling.
Yeah, I'm going to be anonymous. So, I wanted to share, like, when you guys were talking about image, and all my life I've been, like, I guess, big bone or huge or something. And my image of myself, ever since I can remember looking in the mirror, I always felt like I looked really, really good. And my parents always agreed, like they always were just kind of like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. And whenever I wasn't, they shielded me and protected me until, like, you know, like if my two front teeth were out or whatever, they always shielded me. And as I grew and I got even taller or even bigger, yeah, I always enjoyed myself. I always really looked really, really great all the time. And a few years ago, I started gaining weight. And so I gained so much weight that I didn't really notice it. And recently I lost 30 pounds. And I tried to put on clothes I had before. And I was like, oh my God, these things like I can't even, like, it's like you just put on pants without zipping them or unbuttoning them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was this size. And I was, dang, I don't know what's going on. I just look good at these size I am. It's just like, it's just nice to feel that way and to not be aware if I was like any size or whatever in particular. But one thing that was always concerning to me is that, like, I used to have this really weird voice, and no matter how bad I fake it or change it or whatever, it's like I was always haunted, by my voice. I never really want to say too much of anything, and I wasn't shy. I just didn't really want to talk, and I didn't want to be social because I really didn't want to talk. And I'm like, if socializing includes talking, and I don't really want to do that because the conversation usually ends up about, something silly about my voice, and it's always insulting first. The friends that I have now are the friends that never made any comments about my voice, like they didn't care. And I was usually trying to tell people, but everybody else, the first thing they would say is something about my voice. And then when they saw that it was very inappropriate, maybe by my expression or demeanor, then they would try to throw in something and cover up the negativity that they just brought out about. And I said that to say, when we're teaching our children about socializing with people and stuff with young people, it's important that if we're mentioning something about a person that we like or don't like, we need to know what is acceptable to praise or give compliment on, and what's not acceptable or to praise or give compliment on. I know that one you ladies was talking about how you were always the shortest or the most petite or whatever. And I just feel like it's very inappropriate for somebody to say, oh my gosh, you're so short, oh my gosh, you're so petite. Because that's not something that you can exactly change. And it's like, if you're saying, oh my gosh, like you got your hair brain, and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I felt so bad, I can go home and dye it black. But you can't go home and come back 5'8". And we need to lift our sisters up by being conscious of what we talk about. People talk about my voice. And men that I was seeing. And it's like, I would like these men and men that would say something like, oh God, your voice is so sexy. When I know that my voice used to sound very, very young. And in my mind, it's like, so you were attracted to a kid sounding voice? Like, that's the kind of time. Now I think you're some kind of undercover child molester. It's like, I have these crazy things about, like, can we comment and lift each other up and be, you know, not just like, oh my God, girl, you're so thin, or you got so much hips, that's so cute. Forget about that.
I know who you are. I know who you are. And you have always
That's beautiful. I just want to finish this. I just want to know about my character. If you would say, oh my God.
I know who you are. You're a beautiful woman. You have always been beautiful. I have known you for over 20 years. And you know how to dress.
But no,
You know how to carry yourself. Know what?
There's no way you could know me for 20 years. I'm a nana.
I know who you are. And I'm just telling you that you have always been beautiful. You have always known how to carry yourself as a beautiful woman. You know how to dress. You're educated. So yes, you are a beautiful person and an educated woman. And you know how to take care of yourself no matter what anyone else says. And yes, the first time I heard you speak, I hope I didn't say anything to make you feel bad. But your voice, that's you. That's who you are. And if other people don't like it, tough shit. Excuse my language, people.
Thank you. But thank you so much. What do you think that about my character? I love that. I see that and listen to us. It's like, that's what we need to listen to each other up. It's like, you know, you're saying you're smart, you carry yourself well. Like, those are things that if I wasn't doing a good job in that area, I could go home. But I cannot fix my voice. It's like, and it used to be so crazy. It's like the craziest voice that ever haunted me. And I appreciate if you do know who I am. And if I know who you are, I appreciate you. And I thank you. And I love you, Christina.
Oh, that's so sweet. You
It's
should
the
love her, Mary.
truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
You are a beautiful person. And like I said, you might not like certain things about yourself, but in most cases, it doesn't appear that you have a problem with who you are. And that's a good thing, as opposed to walking around carrying your feelings on your sleeve. And yes, I know who you are. I'm not going to out you. I don't have to. And I love you too.
Aw.
Sweet. But
I feel good about, I think everything in my life is that not like I don't know, it's not being able to get past that. And like, for example, I was in a weird store in Hamtramck with a dear friend of mine for her daughter's wedding. And we were picking out some crazy, she was just very weird. because I hadn't been in town around this area since I was like in grade school, like in who knows how many centuries, decades that was ago. And I wanted was like, oh my God, you're Stephanie. And I'm like, yeah, it's me. She outed me because you know what? She said that she remembers me from when I was 6 years old. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, there's no way that you could know me and that I have not changed in 40 years. It's like, I don't know, that kind of just hurts a lot that you and my friend was listening. She was like, you don't know this woman? I don't know this woman. She was like, you don't know me, but you used to play outside in front of my house around what? And I was like hearing her voice. You didn't even know me. That is just so, I don't know, it's just, but thank you. I feel like I have really, I feel like I have a release, and not a complete release, but somewhat of a release. So, thank you.
So thank you for sharing. And there was so what I got from the person who knows you, who spoke up, is that your unique quality with your voice, it most certainly, it touches people and it leaves an impression that people do know you, even if you don't notice that they're paying attention to every aspect of you, not just your voice, not just your stature. So thank you so much for sharing. And this, again, is just part one of this conversation. And anyone, bless you, anyone in the Love Healing Room that wants to share anonymously, you will not be outed just because someone else may know who you are. So I want to most certainly.
No, she just outed herself.
Yes.
She said her name.
Yes, she
but
did.
Let me tell you this. I am, and you wouldn't know it to look at me. I've always called myself shy, as I heard you say once recently. And my thing is, I never knew what I looked like. I've had people come up to me, and I used to be small like you, weighed less than 100 pounds. And people, then I used to want to gain weight. Eventually I did, because when I was younger, they didn't make clothes my size unless I went to the children's department. Okay? And people would say things to me, and I'm not a quick wit, and people would say things to me, and I wouldn't really respond accordingly. Like if they said something insulting, I wasn't quick enough to, come up with a quick remark back at them. And I'd be home before I realized, well, I should have said this, or I should have said that. And so I didn't know what I looked like. So I always thought, when I was growing up, we were told that if you were black and you had big lips or you had a big nose, that you were funny looking and all this, And so that stuck. And so I was always very self-conscious of how I looked and those types of things. And one day, my younger sister and I had taken pictures on a guy she was dating car. He had a Cadillac. And we were out at Belle Isle and we were taking pictures. Well, when she showed me the picture, I said, well, who is that? She said, that's you. Because like I said, I didn't know what I looked like. I had in my head an opinion of myself. And that's what it was. But anyway, so eventually I gained some weight after my third child. And so one of my ex-husband's uncles, whenever he would see me, he would say something about my weight. Now this man was someone who had been fat all his life, I'm sure, from his childhood. And I would just look at him and he was insulting me and hurt my feelings. But I wouldn't, say anything back. And he kept doing this until one day I was in the funeral of my ex-mother-in-law. And there was no one around us. Just him and I were outside of the church. And he said something about my weight. And I told him, I said, I'm just trying to catch up with you. And that man has never said anything else to me about my weight. But he never should have been saying anything to me about my weight. And I'm thinking now, after 20 years, maybe he didn't know what else to say to me when he saw me. But he did not need to say what he said. I can't even remember his exact words, but I know he's talking my weight. And I have to tell people, men, women, even I had to tell my children at some point, because they would tell me, you're gaining weight, you're getting fat. And after a while, I started telling them to leave me alone. And that's what you shouldn't pick at a person about their weight or how they, their voice. There's so many things you shouldn't pick at people about, especially when most people are uncomfortable with themselves, regardless as to whether anyone says anything to them or not. And so I've come to the scene that when people start picking at you, it's because they don't want you to say anything to them about whatever it is they feel less than about. And I learned to love myself. I learned to say no to people when I didn't feel like doing whatever it was they were asking me to do. And you eventually grow out of some of your inhibitions, at least I did, and I began to love myself. But I never picked on anyone just for the sake of picking on them, because I was too into what was wrong with what I thought was wrong with me. So yes, you have to learn to love yourself before you can. I just think you have to learn to love yourself. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. You do have to learn to love yourself.
But that's a powerful word. Learn to love yourself. And we don't. Some of us weren't even taught. It was just something that came over a period, of time. But the generations are different. Me raising mine now, and my grandchildren, it's just different. But I still tell them, no, you can't. It wouldn't be nice because you don't want it to come back on you. And sometimes I have to be careful with that, because I have a granddaughter who's very petite. She could probably, she's just small, and she may 3 children later, pick up some weight, or she may not.
She may not
do it. But we still have to be careful to teach. Wherever we go and whoever we come in contact, we still be teaching not in a mean or nasty type way, to express ourselves, to make sure that they're not feeling bad about themselves.
Right. How they look.
Yes.
Yeah,
especially.
We were at a relative's house once, and a guest came in. It was a young lady. She was tall. And one of my relatives looked at her and said, "Dang, you tall?" That right there really hurts me.
Right.
I mean, it was like your thoughts were truly out loud. It's like, no kidding. Am I?
But
I didn't even
in relation to what?
Right.
Sometimes it's in relation to what?
Well, we all are different. None of us are made alike. There's different variations of us. And however you made, to me, you're perfect, no matter how you are, no matter what your voice sounds like, how tall or short, but it's just so interesting to me how, people do that, because I was made fun of by adults. When I started gaining weight in puberty, they made fun of me very badly. The kids in the neighborhood, my siblings, just adults who didn't even know me made reference to me like that. So I grew up with very self-conscious of my body. I hated my body. I would never really even look at myself in the mirror, let alone naked.
Right.
Sure wasn't going to do that. And so it caused me to totally not like myself because of other people's negative perceptions of me. And we cannot let that be our reality. We cannot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the first person who shared, she talked about how her parents made her feel so good about herself that she didn't even recognize that she had put on weight. So there's impressions and imprints that are put on us, whether they're negative or positive, or whether they're intentional or unintentional.
Yeah.
The idea is to recognize what has been imprinted on you and decide whether or not it feels right. It feels good. It makes you feel worthy of how you feel and how you look. There's no right or wrong. There's no specific answer. It's different for everybody.
Yes.
So thank you everybody for sharing. We are way past the halfway mark. This conversation is continual for the next 3 shows because there's so much to cover when you talk about self-worth. We look at what is promoted in the media, and it can be damaging to your belief of what's supposed to be attractive if you are not really standing secure in your self-worth.
Amen.
So this is why we have to talk about it, because we're made to be different for a reason. There's appreciation in that difference. So yeah, I have to catch myself too with my daughter. Our physiques are not the same. So our metabolisms are not the same. So the habits that I imparted on her, because I'm the caregiver. So if she has any bad eating habits, it stems from her childhood. And that I have to take responsibility for. But no matter what, I wanted to make sure that she knew that she was loved and that she is cute as pie.
Yes, she is cute.
She's
as a
cute
button.
as pie.
Yes, she is.
But I also want her to be healthy and to be responsible in her choices now that I've been able to admit that it was my fault that she had bad eating habits and that she is not as active as she could be. I take responsibility for that as her caregiver growing up, but now that she's an adult, she has to make some choices to be as healthy and happy as she can.
Yeah, I agree with what you said about the media and image, and it's like nowadays, back then it was, especially with models and stuff.
Oh, yes.
Print models or models on TV, they were paper thin, but now the thing is with women, it's like if your butt is not big,
Oh, goodness.
like you're not,
Right.
well, I guess, I'm not about to go get Dr.
Right,
Miami
implants.
and nobody, implants, so I can be attractive to someone.
No.
Because whoever is attracted to me, they're going to be attracted to the essence of me, who Darlene is, and not just my body.
Absolutely.
But it's like they just go and get all those things done, and it's like, and then you're still not even happy, or still don't feel even more worthy about yourself.
You're right. And the same thing with the hair. It's ridiculous with all these women running around with this fake hair and way down their back to their butt. I can't stand having, when my hair, I used to wear dreadlocks, and my hair was, down to my shoulder blade. And I would have to put it up because it would bother me. The heat that maybe I was going through change. I don't know what was going on. But I would be too hot. And I see all these women, some of them have one of those, the lace wigs, the lace front, and it'd be cockeyed and it's gonna be all right. And if they took the time and the money they spend on fake hair and put it into growing their own hair, it would go down their back. But we have been taught that we got this kinky, nappy hair, and it's not good. I had a Filipino woman say something about our hair because she thought it wouldn't grow, and she thought that all black women naturally had short hair. And that's a lie. And we need to be taught to love ourselves enough to be who we are and who we were made to be, as opposed to we're still trying to be like white women. And we're not. And we weren't supposed to be. And you know what? We're trying to be you. And that's so sad that no one, white or black, is really comfortable or glad about what they look like. So black women are not the only ones who have low self-esteem about how we look. That's a shared thing across the board, all nationalities hate themselves. But we have been taught to hate ourselves because so many other people have been taught to hate us. I love me, and I know you ladies sitting there and have learned to love yourself. That's nice.
So true.
Well, I can say, I wore fake weave for about a year or so, but I did it for a protective style so that my hair can look like it does now with my Prosper hair care. But I had to do it. So, but I know a lot of women who do it because, like, I know how to do my hair. If it's short as a grain of rice, I can curl it. I've just always known how, but I know some who just cannot do their own hair, and it's easier for them to manage this than to manage their own hair, because on the other side of that too is it takes a lot of work and patience with your hair to manage it,
But the idea,
and it's
but there is an idea that we could not grow our hair long. Like I mentioned, as a child, I didn't have long hair. So I didn't think that I could have long hair. I don't know why I didn't think I could, but it didn't occur to me that it was possible that I could have hair past my shoulders. I could have hair down my back. I didn't know that or experience that until I was almost an adult. So
Your
yes,
grandmother had hair down her back.
but I didn't know my
And
grandmother.
I chose to cut all of my hair off because I didn't want to be bothered with it. Okay? Because, like I said, maybe I was going through change and I would get it done and would sweat out. And a guy, a relative, someone who has known me for at least 15 years, had the nerve to call me, hey dude, and I had to, I thought about it. I didn't go off on him when I tried to. I told myself I'm not a dude, I'm a woman, all woman. And later, when I got angry enough to really tell him what I thought, he lied and said he didn't say it. And my thing is this, and I had to tell him, my hair was not, it didn't have anything to do with my sexual preference. It was with me wanting to be comfortable with my hair. It had nothing to do with sex. It wasn't even a social statement. It was just me doing what was comfortable for me. And I was highly insulted, for a man to ask me or insinuate that I was into it. And it really, I went off on him. I told him he was uneducated. He needed to pick up a book and read a book and learn something about Black women as opposed to, trying to make me feel bad because I chose not to have hair. I chose to cut it off. And it was at times cut as close as his was. But some people, like I said, who are uneducated and who don't care to learn, make assumptions. And you shouldn't do that. Let me stop because I'm getting angry. I got it.
Amen. Yeah, we don't want to get angry.
We don't want to get, but everybody has their own preference. And we need to accept people for wherever they are, whether you have short hair, long hair, no hair, curly,
Regine and wear a different wig.
Right. There's nothing wrong with choices.
Is you have the choice, and whatever makes you happy, then do that particular thing. Do that. And I'm gonna back up because you can go there, with men or
but there's
women.
also this impression that because we're talking about self-worth,
Right.
So just because a woman wears weave doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't like what she looks like. That is a judgment that we have to put. In my opinion, I think that we have to really step back and allow people to do whatever it is they want to do, but hope and believe that they love themselves enough to like what they have, as well as wanting to wear or not show their real hair.
Don't run around with it cockeyed or with it where in the front it's a mess and you can tell that it's not your hair. If you're gonna wear it, then you get somebody to put it on your head and fix it the way it needs to be fixed.
And maybe that's the best that they can do.
Yeah,
But maybe that's the
they
best
may not
they can
have
do.
the stuff to go or the money to do
Right.
that, on their own.
Maybe they
with
need
it.
somebody to help
And
them.
right. I had to show my daughters how to do their hair. And they had to I didn't put perms in their hair growing up, but if that's something they chose to do as they got older, I'm gonna leave that to you to do that particular thing with it. But I can't hold somebody back because of the how and the way they did it. And I'm not gonna tell them, no, I'm bagging up on that particular thing. So we have to let people do their own thing with it. Just like if somebody says something about your weight, or if someone says you're too skinny, or you too small, or you too short. In whose opinion? And everybody can't come back. I can't always come back with that.
People and tell them that it don't look good or that whatever. I recently told one of my neighbors that he needed to get his teeth. Now he was in like he's in his 50s. And so my daughter-in-law said, you shouldn't say things like that to people. But I pulled him off to the side and spoke to him about it. He told me that I'm getting ready to get him fixed. I'm going to pull him all out and whatever. And that's what he did. But I'm just too opinionated, and I know sometimes I should be quiet. But I don't speak, like I said, I pulled him to the side.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that was calling me a dude, he didn't pull me to the side. I was at his house. And made things in my house many times, telling his wife, I don't embarrass people. And so I'm getting ready to leave your house, and I don't know if he was trying to embarrass me or impress his friends. I don't know what he was doing, but I didn't like it. And so I spoke out about it. And like I said, if you're going to say something to me about what I should do better, then, or whatever it is you think you got against me, then you pull me off to the side and you tell me. You ask me. You don't, like I say, just blab out something that people who don't know me think that's what I'm doing. So I dress the way I like, and whatever, I dress comfortably. And like I got a man's sport coat that I bought from the Salvation Army or somewhere, and I had it clean, and it's got inside pockets, so when I don't want to carry a purse or I want to stick my phone in there, I can. And like I say, that's how I choose to dress, like Annie Hall or somebody. But because you are looking at me and you see that my hair is cut, it's as close as yours, that's a preference due to my not wanting to comb my hair. I can get up and leave the house and ain't touch my head because I forgot or because I didn't feel like it, and I'm okay. But if you, like I said, and in my opinion, if you're going to wear a weave, then you make sure it's not, or even a wig, make sure it's not matted and looking like it's unkempt. So yeah, that's my opinion.
All right, thank you for sharing. So we're almost at the top of the hour. This conversation has been really, really good. We've touched on a lot of different areas around self-worth, as well as we talked about other people's opinions about appearances. So that's a lot to really think on. Take all of these different aspects of conversation and allow it to, settle in on you and how you view yourself, and maybe how you communicate to others, how you view them. Because that too can be, it can be an indicator of how much you love yourself. A whole lot. So this is not over. This is just the beginning of the conversations around self-worth. And we hope that, especially if you're new to the Love Healing Room, that you take this as an opportunity to do some self-reflection, and that you decide to continue the conversation with those who are close to you. Because we need to have these talks.
Yeah, because you have to feel good. We all have to feel good about ourselves and feel and know that we are worthy
Absolutely.
of having any and everything that we desire to have. Because while we were talking about the hair, I was thinking about how I've been wearing makeup since I was 16. My friends taught me how to put makeup on, and I mean, I wouldn't leave out the house. Like my mom used to say, if I didn't have my face on, I had to put my face on every time I left. And then I realized that that was tied to my self-esteem. And so I went for a long time not wearing makeup at all. But once I've gone through my healing process, now I just do it from a different perspective, a place of wholeness.
Right.
And it's only enhancing the beauty that I always
Yes,
have. It's an
enhancing.
enhancement. Because still some days I may not do, I'll go out barefaced. I remember when I couldn't do that. I really felt like I could not walk out the door without having that face on. And so I got tired of what I felt was a mask. Not only the makeup as a mask, but to appear as if everything was all right with me when I wasn't all right. And so I just stripped everything down to my core and started healing and building from there.
That's beautiful.
It really is, because we do have to have self-confidence about ourselves. And sometimes it does take time to do that. And if you have a tribe around you, then it makes it even easier, for that to come. But sometimes pat yourself.
Yeah.
Pat yourself on the back for
Yes.
wherever you are, whether that's with your size, with your hair, with no makeup, going out the door. Do that for you. Because I always represent when I go out. And I tell that to anybody. I tell it especially to my children and my grandchildren. But that's my pet peeve. That's my perspective, just to have that confidence. And I want that for everyone, not just for me, but whoever I come in contact with.
Yeah. Because this year our theme again is about solutions.
Yes.
And we're having this conversation so that we can bring solutions to our lives. And so if we know that there's something that we, like you deal with self-worth, because if you don't like my size 10 feet, you don't like my, I don't have a big butt or whatever. I love me.
Right.
I'm the total package. I'm that deal. Okay. So if somebody doesn't like that, that's on you. And it's none of my business. And it's not my place to convince you to feel otherwise.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
Because I'm going to be me and I'm going to do me.
And be beautiful while I'm doing it.
Beautiful while I'm doing it.
Yes.
Yes.
And we all have beauty. We do.
We do. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
It's just different.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be different.
Yeah.
And there's somebody out there who loves every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that person should be you.
It should be you. Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
I'm just saying. So, okay, we're at the top of the hour. We just have a few minutes left. Love Healing Room. So grateful that you all came off mute and shared your perspective. Are there any final shares before we get ready to say goodnight? Oh, yes. And for all right, Secret and Silent Flutterbies, if you change your mind, we've got a couple minutes, but I wanted to make sure all of our viewers on social media, wherever you are, whatever platform you're on, make sure you find Love Healing Room on the other platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope, like, share, and subscribe. And as you can see, we have on some of our beautiful merchandise.
Mugs.
Yes.
My shirt on.
Yes. So check out our store on Etsy, Love Healing Room. On our website, thelovehealingroom.com. Get your positive, love infused merchandise. Yes. Rock your Love Healing Room and tag us so that we can, we can support you. # Love Healing Room. So next week, next Sunday is Valentine's Day. And in observation of love, we will not have a live show. So if you follow us on any of the social media platforms, we'll be having a replay of some of our best shows. But we'll be back the following Sunday to continue the conversation, part 2 of self-worth. So
Yes.
make sure you like, share, and subscribe so that you'll be notified of the show. Otherwise, we'll be back same time, same intention, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we hope that you will join us. Until then, we're going to leave you with Namaste.
Namaste.